Good morning friends, welcome to another lecture on microprocessors and interfacing. Today we are going to discuss about the different types of or different ports in 8051 microcontroller, and also the interfacing of memory and IO devices. So how they are going to interface with each other, and how it is going to perform its task by interfacing with other devices. So coming to the topic, hardware features of 8051. It is nothing but how or what are the components which are present in 8051 and how they are going to utilize or how they are going to use to communicate or to execute a particular program. As we all know, in the pin diagram we have seen that here we have divided the pin diagram of 8051 into 4 ports: port 1, port 3, port 0 and port 2. Each port consists of 8 pins, and we have only 6 pins other than these ports, as I have already told you. And port 1 is solely dedicated as an IO port, whereas in the case of port 0, port 1 and port 2, they have to perform multiple tasks. Except port 1, all the remaining 3 ports are to perform multiple tasks. And how this port 0 or port 1, port 2 or port 0, how they are going to be used or how they are going to be interfaced with other devices, and what are the properties and how they will going to be execute or how they are going to be interfaced with other devices, will be explaining in today's class. Okay, coming to port 0, it is here we have port 0 means port 0.1 to port 0.7, that is 8 pins. That is from it carries AD0 to AD1, sorry, AD0 to AD7. See here the internal structure of that port is like this. So here port 0 can be configured as a normal bidirectional port. Here see, it can be configured as normal bidirectional port, IO port, or it can be used as an address or data bus by taking the value of a control bit. Suppose if the control bit value is 1, then we are going to access or we are going to use this port 1 as an address or data interfacing. That means depending upon the control value, that means if the control value is 1, then we are going to use the port 0 as used for address or data interfacing, and if the control value is 0, we are using it as a general purpose bidirectional port. I repeat, if the control value is 1, then we are going to use this port 0 as an address or data interfacing. If the control value is 0, then we are going to use this into a normal bidirectional IO port. Coming to port 1, as we have seen here, port 1 is nothing but it is a completely independently, there is no other device or no other operation. Here we can say that in port 0 sometimes we are going to send a address or sometimes we are going to send data, but here it is completely an IO based. See here, port 1 does not have any alternate function, that is it is completely solely dedicated for IO interfacing. That means there is no external work is here for port 1. Therefore, when used as an output port, the pin is pulled up or down through an internal pull up. Here we have an internal pull up, so that it has to be up or down in order to use it as an output port. So to use the port 1 as an input port, if we need to use this port 1 as an input port, then we need to enter the value, that is 1, to the flip-flop here. So see here, 1 has to be written into the latch. Here 1 has to be written to the latch. In this input mode, when 1 is written to the latch and the pin is used to extract or it is going to interface with external device, then it is reading fine. But if we are entering a 0, that means if we are entering a 0, that is it means we are interfacing with external device. If we are entering 0, then it must be taken care, should be taken that it should sync with the value, it should sync with the current value which is present in the port 0. See here, if the external device is not able to sync the current, then the pin voltage may be rise, which leading to the wrong reading. So we need to sync, that means synchronize, that means it should be equal while entering, or while if we are inserting 0, it should be synchronized, that means it should be a lower clock, that means a falling edge of the clock, so that the process will go in a smooth manner. If it is not in a smooth falling edge, if it is a rising edge, then the reading will be in a wrong position. Coming to the port 2, here we have seen that port 2 is AN8 to A15, that means we are using this port 2 in order to transfer higher address bytes. See here, port 2 is used for higher external address byte or a normal IO port. The IO operation is similar to port 1, suppose, that means port 1 is similar to port 2, but here we are using that one as an higher address byte, higher external address byte. Port 2 latch remains stable when port 2 pin are used for external memory access. This port 2 will remain stable when we are going to access with external memory, that means internally we have only 8 bit. If we need to extract another bits, we are going for external memory access. Here again, due to internal pull-up, there is a limited current driving capability. This pull-up will what it will do means it will stop the circuit when it is not used. So there will be a limited current driving capability. If the work is not available, then this will pull up, that means it is not going to allow, it may be open circuit. Coming to the next one, port 3. So as we have seen that port 3 have a read, receive, transmit, interrupt, external interrupts, interrupt 0, interrupt 1, timer 0, timer 1, write, read. See here, we are using these pins here, that means we are performing different tasks. Each pin of port 3 can be individually programmed for IO operation or for an alternate function. That means here alternate function in sense, suppose you can use all this as an IO operations also, but it should be configured. That means this port should be configured for receiving data or for transmitting data. Each and every pin has to be configured again in order to perform the extra work. That means like receive, transmit, interrupt, or receiving external data. See here, the alternate function can be activated only if the corresponding latches has to be written to 1. That means each and every corresponding latch has to be in a set position in order to activate the alternate function, otherwise it is not going to perform the alternate function, and it is going to act as a normal IO port. To use the port as an IO port, one should be written to the latch. Here one should be written to the latch. This port also has an internal pull-up, so you can see that the limit in all the ports we have a limited current driving capability. That means, which shows that if a port is not being used, then no power supply will be given to a particular port. So coming to the memory and IO interfacing of 80851, so even a microcontroller is used to connect devices with the machine, with the man. For example, if you are now in summer we are already operating an ACs, that means we are changing the temperature to the level what we need. So we are just pressing the buttons what are the present in the remote. That means here the remote is an interfacing device between the user and machine, and by using that remote we are going to check we are going to alter the program. So coming to the memory interfacing, Here memory interfacing will be like we are going to interface with static RAM, EEPROM and EEPROM in order to enhance the capabilities of the 8051 microcontroller. That means in order to execute or in order to enhance the compatibility or the usage, we are going to use these external devices like or other memory locations like SRAM, EEPROM and EEPROM to perform a task. For example, coming here, external memory. Why we need an external memory? If the internal memory is not sufficient to perform a task, we are going for external memory. That means whenever we are going to for external memory, we are going to interface these devices with the 8051 microcontroller. For example, if you are having data which you don't have in your laptop, then you are going to use your pen drive or a mail. If you are going to use your pen drive, you need to connect a device to the pen drive, your system, so that the internal device or the internal interfacing devices which are present within your system will interact or will make a contact with both your CPU and your external device, and the data will be transferred from your external device to internal system, or the data will be copied from internal system to the external device. So that means here 8051 gives the facility to interface with external RAM or RAM which exceeds its internal limits. Suppose it is not possible if a program has to be written and the size of the program is far away from your internal RAM or ROM, then we are going for accessing the external memories. So two separate external memories are made available by the 16-bit program counter and data pointer, and also different control pins are available to enable the external RAM and ROM. So external RAM is accessed by the data pointer up to 64 KB. So whenever we are interfacing with external devices, if the internal memory is not sufficient, then we go for the external devices. So coming to the RAM interfacing, here 8051 is will give the facility to connect with one or more pins called chip select or chip enable. So chip select should be activated to access the memory content. Chip select and chip enabling means making it into on position, and also the address lines will vary depending upon the memory capacity. That means if the memory capacity is rapidly increasing, then if the data is rapidly increasing, then the addressing memory will be automatically increases, and by that the memory capacity also be increases. For example, if there are from address locations from A0 to A10, then we are going to access 2 KB of RAM, and here we have also control pins, control signals, output enable signals and write enable signals, and the data lines are input and output lines. And while interfacing with memory chip, the microcontroller should consider some of the specifications. That is, the data bus of microcontroller is connected directly to the data pins of memory. Here the data bus, or when we are interfacing with external RAM, the data bus should be connected to the data pins of a chip, and also the control signals, that is a read write memory from microcontroller, are connected to the output enable and write enable, and the address lines from the CPU are to be connected directly to the address lines of memory chips as per the requirement. So we should not waste, or we should not spend most of the power which we have in our microcontroller here. That means we are using it to the extent where we need. We are not at all using unnecessarily. Here we are using it in a proper way, that it should be in a the program or the application should be in a perfect time without wasting time, power and memory. And the remaining address pins are used to activate the chip select pin. That means only the limited number of pins in which the data is to be transmitted have to be connected directly. The remaining pins are used to activate the chip select pin on the memory chip, and no data can be written or read from the chip unless chip select is activated. For example, if USB drivers are not enabled in your system, even though if you connect your pen drive, it is not going to be accessed. And if you need to use it, you have to enable the USB drivers, and the USB drivers will enable a particular device so that we can read the data. Unless and until if we are not going to enable that one, the data won't be readed. And coming to the coming to the interfacing with external ROM, the system, why we are going for external ROM? If the capacity what is present within the microcontroller is not sufficient to execute a program, then we are going for external ROM. So ideally the ROM in many systems where the on-chip ROM of 8051 is not suitable, we are going for 8031 microcontroller, which is having 64 KB. So, and that means instead of using 8051, we are going for 8031. And coming to the external access, to indicate that the program is stored in an external access. That means if we are showing that we are dealing with external access, this pin, and this should be shown that the external access is being used, or the memory or the data which we are performing to complete a task is from external access. So coming to the address latch enable, which is an important pin, this decides that what type of operation is going to be performed. That means if address latch is equals to 0, then we are transmitting data, and if address latch is equals to 1, then we are transmitting the addressing address. That we through we have seen that AD0 to AD7 and AA to A15, what type of things has to be done. This means address latch enables if its value is 0, then we are going to transmit data. If its value is 1, then we are going to transmit address. And coming to the program strobe enable, this will is used, this pin is used to access external ROM which is connected to the program code. So coming to the IO interfacing, so what are the IO devices? Input output devices. For example, whatever the keyboard what we are using is an input device, and can I say that input interfacing device, the monitor what we are watching or is an output device, and a 7-segment display or a microwave oven. All these are the common devices that are interfacing with 8051, and the capability of 8051 is not utilized in a small application. Say for example 7-segment display or a microwave oven. This is not, it is in my point of view, it is not been fully utilized, because it is having a vast application that expose the capability of 8051. Though 8051 is a very old model, till now we are using 8051 in some of the programs, some of the vast programs. So for example shopping malls with fire alarms, automatically the fire alarm will blow the horn whenever there is a fire in the shopping malls, etc. So in order to interfacing with other devices, we need to check the number of port required for interfacing an IO device. That means whenever we should maintain the perfectness while connecting an IO device. That means how many ports are required, to transmit the data or to execute a program. It should be a particular thing, it should remain, so that no memory or no IO port waste to be wasted, and the speed must be synchronized between the IO devices and the microcontroller. Very important point, that the speed must and should be synchronized, otherwise it is not going to transmit data properly or interface the data properly. That's all for today's class. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.